Okay, today I'm going to make some carnival food. So the first one I'm going to make is the funnel cake. So stay with this, and I will show you that recipe. Okay, so we had our local carnival here last week, and so we were just kind of in the mood for some more carnival food. So I'm just going to show you how quick and easy it is to make it at home. You know, some of the carnival food can be pretty expensive, so for a large family, we just choose to make it at home. So this first, now this will be funnel cake, but I'm going to do it in a couple different ways. Cooking it in just a couple different ways. So I went ahead and put my I'm going to double the recipe, but in the description below I'll put the single recipe. So I'm going to first start with 4 cups of all-purpose flour. I went ahead and put it in here because we have our flour in a 5-gallon bucket, because we buy 50 pounds at a time. So instead of lugging it all around, we're going to just do it. I just went ahead and put it in. So okay, so after the flour, we're going to put in our baking powder. It calls for 2 teaspoons because it's a double recipe. So this is a half teaspoon at a time. So I'm going to put 4 of those in. I'm going to put in our Himalayan salt. Okay, so we're gonna next put in a half a cup of sugar. You can also substitute for stevia if you'd like, or xylitol, or some sort of natural sugar substitute. Splenda. Put in a whole cup of milk. Teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, so we're going to blend that up. Okay, I'm going to continue blending and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, we blended it here with a fork. I usually just kind of let it set for just a minute just to kind of continue to blend. Make sure that there's no flour pockets or anything like that. So this is about the consistency you want, just like a runny batter. So we're going to be using a little Presto cooker. So I have already washed it, so I plugged it in for a minute to kind of dry it out because I didn't want any water left in it. Sometimes if there's a little pocket of water in there and you add your oil, it'll start popping and can become a dangerous mess. So I'm going to go ahead and add our oil. Now you can do this on the stove top. With a candy thermometer to check for temp. This doesn't have a temp setting, so I'm just gonna wait until it looks like everything on the bottom is kind of stirring up. So we'll give that a few minutes while our funnel cake is setting. So I'm just going to set this aside. So I've taken an old ketchup bottle now, and you can put this funnel you can put the batter directly into the funnel and just use a funnel, but it's a little harder to control. So I've just been taking the funnel cake, running it through the funnel into an old ketchup squirt bottle. Takes a little bit to get down in there. But then it's a little easier to control if you want to do lines or you want to do it in a little bit more of an area. So we'll let this drip in. I'll fill this bottle, get our oil heated up, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so we have some of our funnel cake in the ketchup bottle here. Now another way I was going to show you is I'm going to take my apple core peeler here. I've got this nice Jonathan apple here that we got. So I'm just going to peel it and spiral cut it. So then I can just take off those pieces, and we will cut these little pieces into chunks. Okay, so we're just going to cut it in a line here. And with the remainder of the batter, because of course I didn't put all the batter into the ketchup bottle, I just want these in the final chunks. I have added to my batter here a little Himalayan cinnamon. That's why it's probably about, I don't know, maybe half a teaspoon left. So we're going to add that, and then we're just going to throw in our apple chunks. So we're going to make funnel fingers, funnel cake, and then an apple chunk funnel cake. So okay, so let me get rid of this. Let me get this cleaned up, get the oil here where we can see it. Okay, so first we're gonna take our ketchup bottle with just the regular. It has been heating here for about 10 minutes now. So we're just gonna lay strips and not, better if this was off. So they're more like fingers, and you can put them in there for if you're, trying to serve for several kids or people and you don't want a full funnel cake each. These are a good way of just kind of adding them, and then you can kind of get them all. They're more portionized. You can have a couple each person. So I'll show you what they look like when they're done cooking. So I did a couple batches of these little fingers. As you can see, they're just individual little noodly things. So you can dust them with some powdered sugar, and then they're easier for just kind of a little more easier to handle than an actual funnel cake. The actual full funnel cake. So now we're going to do the full funnel cake. So just like doing the swirlies. This way it holds it together a little bit better. And just kind of wait till, kind of like a pancake, when the top is bubbling but not, it's more consistent. It's a little more Some funnel cakes are easier batters are easier to manage in the fryer. Sometimes they're a little more cakey, some of them are a little more biscuity. So this recipe is a little more cakey. So it's softer, and this seems to be lighter and just a little easier to manage in the fryer here. So we'll cook a few of these, and I'll show you the next one. Okay, so I just poured, which I thought I was recording, just a little squirt in a corner for a smaller funnel cake as opposed to the larger. So if you want to do little more individualized ones, I'll try to get the next pour recorded. So let me cook this one and I'll show you the next one. Okay, we're going to try the little one again. So at first you're just going to start in one little area, and as it pops up a little bit and makes a few little floaters, then you try to circle around that few, holding them together. Then you just take your nut fork or whatever and flick the little separated ones off. So this way they're a little smaller, circular, so if you want to have smaller ones, several more small ones instead of fewer larger ones, then it just gives you a little more freedom in pouring. So I'll cook this one and then we'll show you what the apple one turns out to be. Okay, so I'm going to first again mix up the apple batter, and then I'm just going to take a few chunks, just kind of drizzle them in. And this is going to be a little bit thicker of a cake because it's going to have these chunks of apples in it. And just kind of drizzle them in the So if there's any that look like they're kind of wanting to individualize, you can kind of just paste them together for a little funnel cake on top. And I'll get this turned over and I'll show you what it looks like. So we just flipped it, and as you can see, it's got larger sections where the apples are, so it's needing to stay a little in there a little bit more. You can hear it popping a little bit more because of the water from the apples. So we'll continue cooking it, and we'll be right back. Okay, so we just took the apple one out. As you can see, it's larger little pockets here where the apples are, so that's what it looks like. And we're going to make another one, and I'll show you what it looks like here. So you can also take your apple chunks when you drizzle it in, because sometimes the chunks can be a little hard to control or hard to form together. You can take your apples chunks and spoon them in, and then you can take your ketchup bottle with your batter in it and squirt it around, and then it will hold it together just a little bit better. Now since these apples they're gonna still be a little crunchy in the middle, and that's what we kind of like. So this is the batter. So this was enough batter, I didn't need to, but because I still have a little bit left in my ketchup bottle. So we'll just let it cook a little bit, and right before I flip it, I'll kind of show you what it looks like. Okay, gets this a little thicker. If you just take your fork and kind of push down a little bit, you can kind of push the hot oil over the top, and that kind of stabilizes the top more a little bit, so it holds together when you try to flip it, instead of having to be so raw. So, because they are a little bit more difficult to flip, you have to kind of move your fork in the middle, as close to the middle as you can, and then kind of flip it over. So, okay, we'll let it cook a little bit longer, and I'll pull it out and we'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so we've let it cook a little bit longer. I'm going to pull it out. Again, you want to try to get your fork in the middle as possible. It kind of distributes a little bit more. Okay, so that's what they look like. Those are the apple dumpling funnel cakes. This is the traditional funnel cake, and then this is the little finger single serving ones, and then these are just the little smaller funnel cakes. So that's my version of funnel cake. You can also cover them in jelly, or you can put powdered sugar on them, or you can put syrup. You can put maple syrup, you can put honey, you can put about any other topping you want on it. So thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe, and tell me what kind of toppings that you put on your funnel cakes, and what kind of funnel cakes that they serve in the carnivals in your area. So please leave a comment, and I'll like to know how everybody else eats their funnel cakes. I'll see you on the next video.